Hey folks, Dr. Gerstmar from Aspire Natural Health. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching or listening to this. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I wanted to talk about the idea of testing and guessing. Testing and guessing. You know, when you look out there, many doctors, whether they're regular doctors, whether they're more holistically inclined doctors, and even myself from a couple of years ago, we held the line, test, don't guess. Test, don't guess. Like, why would we want to guess about something when we can test and find the answers? And what that used to look like a couple of years ago was when people would come to see us with digestive issues or autoimmunity, we'd run a fairly extensive group of tests on them to begin their care. And often people were blown away because they had information and they had insights and they had understanding about what was going on for them that they did not have before. And that was an absolutely wonderful thing. We also had some rock solid areas where we were guided towards to work on to improve things so that people's health would improve, their digestive issues and autoimmunity would improve, and it was great. However, there was a problem here, right? And that was cost. Getting those tests done is expensive. Whether it's regular tests like blood work and scans and all sorts of other things, or whether it's more alternative testing, gut testing and nutrient testing and all of these different things, they all cost money. And for some people, it was great. They were happy, they had the resources, and they were happy to invest, and they felt great. It was all good. But for other people, the problem we faced was they were like, this is great. I have knowledge, I have understanding about what's going on. And we'd be like, great, now let's get to work and fix it. And they'd say, sorry, I'm out of money. I don't have any money to do that right now. I'm going to need to wait a while, save up some money to go ahead and move forward. And it meant that they didn't, now that we had all this great information, we had a great picture of what was going on, we weren't able to act on that, or we gave them a few things, steps to take forward and ways to improve things, but we weren't able to get that significant, major, long-lasting and sustainable results, to take people from sick to healthy to thriving. That was our goal. We had unfortunately spent their resources finding out what was going on. So it left us with a bit of a dilemma. And over the last couple of years, I've shifted more so from test to informed guessing. Let's make sure we use that word. It's not just guessing like, let's just try this or that and just kind of pull it out of a hat. It's really informed guessing based on what's going on, based on any test the person does have done, based on an understanding of what's going on from them and their symptoms. We're going to make informed guesses. And let's be clear here, there is no perfect answer. In an ideal world, I still completely agree with everyone. You test, you don't guess. You test, you don't guess. However, there are two problems. The first is, like we said, it's not a perfect world. Not everybody has all of the resources they need to test everything that could possibly be going on for a person. And the second thing to realize is no test is perfect. No test, not even the most, solid, the most long used regular test, the scans and everything else, nothing is perfect. So this idea that we're just going to test, we're going to know exactly what's going on, we're going to pinpoint it precisely, and we know exactly what to do with it, that's not always true either. So again, in a perfect world, yes, test, don't guess. However, the reality is for most of us, resources aren't infinite, and so we need smart testing and we need informed guessing, both sides, to complement one another. Now, we have to talk really quickly. Like, why do regular doctors, why do they order so many tests? It's called defensive medicine, because here's the reality. Most of the time, the vast majority of the time, a stomach ache is just a stomach ache. But sometimes, unfortunately, a stomach ache isn't just a stomach ache. It's a really bad thing. And if we don't recognize that it's a really bad thing, and often testing is really important here to help us understand, oh my gosh, this isn't really just a stomach ache. This is a really bad thing, and treat it appropriately. So the reality is, if someone comes in with a stomach ache and we go, you know what, it's probably a stomach ache, there are some chances where it won't just be a stomach ache, and there's the possibility of bad things happening. Now, that may be a 1 in a million chance. It depends on what's going on. But the problem here is if we miss the 1 in a million chance, something really bad happens for that person. So to try and avoid that, we're going to order for the other 999,999 people, we're going to go ahead and order all of those tests to make sure that it's not that really bad thing. And again, in a perfect world, 100% agree with that. The issue is where do we spend our resources again? We spend a lot of money. We put people through a lot of tests in the regular medical system that don't amount to anything, that cost money, that take time and effort. And some of those tests, like getting a CT scan, do expose us to some radiation. Now, that's not a reason not to get a CT test if you really need it, but we don't just want to be cavalier and just getting test after test after test unless there's a really good reason for it. So at the end of the day, folks, there is no easy answer. What I've recognized, though, is that there really is a place for informed guessing. Now, obviously, if something really bad is going on or you suspect something really bad, we don't want to be cavalier and go, no, we're not going to do the tests. Of course we do them. The reality, though, for most people dealing with significant digestive issues and long-term autoimmunity is they're not in that scary and dangerous place where the tests are totally appropriate and critical to make sure nothing bad is going on, or if something bad is going on, that it gets treated promptly and effectively. For most of us who are dealing with these chronic issues, but that's not the place we're in. And the reality is, while tests are very important, do we need to run all the tests in the world? Do we always have to test first in order to move forward? And the answer is no. Now what we do, instead of running an extensive panel up front for people, unless that's what they want, they have the money, they're willing to invest it, they want to get the test done, great. But most people are not in that situation. So what do we do more often now is we take a thorough understanding of what the person is going through. We discuss what are the critical tests that make sense to get done for the person, and we layer that with informed guessing based on our experience, based on what's going on for the person, about what needs to happen next. Now, if we're suspecting that it's an issue, and we make some suggestions about what to do about that, and everything improves, the person's feeling much better, is it really mandatory that we go back and do testing? Well, again, depends on the person and the situation. But for a lot of people, if we figured out what is going on, and if the suggestions are helping them to feel better, then no. Not necessarily. It's where things aren't working. We think, this is probably what's going on for this person. Here are some suggestions of what might be helpful. If the person chooses to go ahead and do those, and they're going, gosh, those suggestions don't seem to be getting me where I'm going, that's where we might make the suggestions then to get some tests done to understand, because obviously our informed guess was incorrect, and we need a greater understanding of what's going on. So we've definitely changed the way that we work, what we've suggested to people. Some doctors, whether they're regular or whether they are holistic or alternative, still are recommending a boatload of tests to get done. Again, in a perfect world where money is not an object, or you have money that you're happy to invest to find out more, that's great. That works. However, what we found over the years is for a lot of people, that's an obstacle. Now, are there risks, like we said, about guessing, informed guessing over testing? Sure, there is the possibility that we could miss something serious. And so that's something that each one of us as doctors and as people trying to take care of our health, we have to decide about risks. The reality is we do that every day. When we get in a car, we do many other things. We have to decide what we feel comfortable with. The second is, by making informed guesses, there's a reality that we may spin our wheels a little bit. We may try something and it doesn't work. We may adjust it. It still doesn't work. Then we may have to come back and get some testing done, or suggest some testing to find the real answer to what's going on. However, remember, tests are not perfect either. Sometimes we look at a test and we see this and we go ahead and make some suggestions around that. We still don't get the answers or the results that we're looking for. So unfortunately, that's life. There is no perfect piece. However, I'm here to say that there is a place for informed guessing for a person. So it's not always Test, don't guess. Based on what's going on for a person, based on the level of risk that we're all willing to take, based on a person's resources, based on whether, honestly, they really need all of those tests done, there is a place for informed guessing. And that's certainly changed the way that we practice. All right, folks, listen, that is it for me today. If you are in a place you're dealing with digestive issues and autoimmunity and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, this approach sounds good to you. Sensible testing with the appropriate informed guessing married together with a system, our Sick to Thriving program, that's been refined by over a decade and helps people dealing with digestive issues and autoimmunity to go from sick to healthy to thriving. If all of that sounds in your wheelhouse, that sounds good and what you're looking for, then I want to invite you. Let's have a chat together. Let's see if we are the right fit to work together. All you need to do is go to the website, aspirenaturalhealth.com. That's aspirenaturalhealth.com. Aspire is an ASPIRE, aspirenaturalhealth.com. One of two buttons there. The first is ask about price and availability. That's going to tell you a little bit more about how we work, whether we have any availability. When you're watching or listening to this, we may have some slots open or we may be on a wait list. And the third is, what does the investment look like to work with us? So that button will tell you more all about that. If all that sounds good and you're ready and raring to go, you'd like to put in an application, see if we might be a right fit to work together, then you click on the second button that says apply for help. All right, folks, that is it for me today. Until next time, take care.